Well, today is Tuesday, April the 7th, and I am once again coming to you live with a Holy Week at Home reflection. And look what I found. It was in my living room. Yep, right there in plain sight. But clearly not in plain sight. I've been walking by it for some time and not seeing it at all. That's embarrassing. And a little disturbing that I didn't notice something dying right in front of me. Except that I don't think this concept is all that unusual. At least not for me, but maybe not other people too. We've been hearing a lot these days about how we need to stay at home where it's safe. But home isn't automatically safe just because it's home, is it? Certainly not safe for my plants. And just because it's home doesn't mean it's a place where you're looked after. And there are a lot of people who don't find home a safe place, but rather the place where pain and hurt reside. So I'm thinking about all of you out there for whom the idea of a stay-at-home order is more than inconvenient. Those for whom it's dangerous because stress leads to violence. Or those of you who have empty fridges or not enough space to turn around. I'm thinking about the people who don't feel welcome in their own home. Or as Shenandoah once sang, feel like a ghost in this house. Or people who feel trapped or confined. Even if we have homes that welcome us, they aren't always comfortable, are they? If members of your household are doing essential services that take them into the public sphere, I can imagine that you might be worrying about the cross-contamination that might happen at your home. If you've been spending more time than usual under the same roof with people, there's a fairly good chance that some of them might be getting on your nerves by now. Maybe there's been an argument or two. And I don't mean you, Sandra, although I do see that you're watching. We know that family relationships aren't always happy inside the home walls, regardless of how they appear out in public. And the stress and the tension of this particular time in the world, I think, can be exhausting, which just ratchets up the tendency to treat each other poorly. The things that have always annoyed you are super annoying right now. And a bunch of things that have never really bothered you before can suddenly grate on your last nerve. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of people losing it over the limits of technology and the whole learning curve thing. And I think that home is often where we see people, we let people see the hurt in a way we don't show to the rest of the world, right? Home is a place where the despair can well up and over, where anger can explode, pent-up emotions find an easy target. It's where we spend our sick time because we are sick. It's where we spend time when we're sad. There's a lot of pain in lots of our homes right now. And home may well be where some hurt is. And like this plant that was dying right in front of my nose, I think sometimes we don't even notice the hurt because it's like part of the decor. It's just how things are. Or we're so focused on our own agenda that we don't pay attention to what's going on around us. I think that's what happened with my plant. It's not like I couldn't see it. I just didn't. I was attending to other things, other concerns. I think it's easily done. But now I've seen this plant, and I need to attend to it. Well, I suppose I could continue to let it sit there until it is well and truly dead. And it might be past saving at this point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can bring it back. But now that I've seen it, I can attend to it. Hello Beth, hello Leanne, hi Nan. When we were thinking about this theme of Holy Week at Home, I started looking for Bible stories that take place in homes. And I noticed things I didn't really notice before, because who pays attention to that in the stories? But like in the book of Genesis, for example, when the Pharaoh puts into house confinement any of his staff who are offending him in some way. And so Joseph ends up there, and the royal baker ends up there, the chief cupbearer ends up there. They're all confined together. And one morning, Joseph sees the officials looking troubled. They're talking about their nightmares, actually. And he says to them, "Why do you look so sad today?" He noticed their pain. And attending to it actually changes Joseph's life forever, if you take a look at the story. But it all started with the noticing. And I think that's true of all of the pain and the hurt and the illness and the dying of all kinds that's happening even inside our homes right now. And if we're willing to see it, we can attend to it. Not solve it like a problem, although in some cases I guess that might be what happens. But attend to it, like to notice what it needs and whether life can be restored. Or if what is needed is a letting go and a grieving process. So if you are in a violent household, attending to it might be a letting go, finding a new safe place, not being held hostage to an abusive partner who uses COVID-19 as a reason to control you. Or if your pain is from lack of resources, I wonder if there are places and people you could ask for help you haven't tried. There's lots of offers out there. Now, asking for what you need is really hard. But not asking for what you need and just hoping that someone is going to figure that out doesn't usually work. And attending to it can just be listening, or it can be being sad, or finding a band-aid, literally or emotionally. Did I mention listening? It might be hosting a dance party for yourself in the living room to experience some healing of movement and music. I remember a conversation with a friend one time. She was talking about feeling dissatisfied with her life. She assumed it had something to do with what she was doing. And it wasn't until she really tried to pay attention to it that she realized she was lonely. And she'd missed that because she'd been with lots of people. She wasn't alone. She wasn't alone, but she was lonely. So attending to the hurt can be about acknowledging what's going on. And it opens a door, right? I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the host was talking about the kind of approach you can take when the collective energy of your household has this clear gap between what you have, like I'm at 10%, and what you need to manage life around you when you're just tapped out. And so in her house, she said when they notice that, the first and the most important step is for them to notice it out loud. And then when they notice it, the way they attend to it is they make rules for themselves. So rules like, right now, no harsh words. And no nice words with harsh faces. You say you're sorry, you accept apologies with a thank you, and you share puns and you share knock-knock jokes. And so as a family, they commit to going to bed on time, eating a healthy meal, moving their bodies to get out some of the anxiety. And I was thinking, okay, when you're feeling tapped out, when I am feeling tapped out, committing to all of that might feel pretty overwhelming on its own. Yes, shout out Brené Brown. Somebody else heard that podcast. And so that might be pretty overwhelming, except it's not a commitment to change their lives, but just to get through the next few hours, right? And because they are tackling it together, it is a good way to attend to the hurt in their home at that moment. But I don't know what is the hurt in your home right now. I suspect that some of you will be like me and ignoring it in the hopes that it'll just disappear. What? Did I think that if I ignored this plant, it would somehow water itself? That makes no sense. But that's how I was treating it. So, today, I'm going to try and pay attention. To find ways to ask, why do you look so sad today? Later.